Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Unstoppable Podcast. I'm Ralph Grace Jr. So glad to have you guys here. Today, this interview has been a long time coming. You ever have a friend of yours that is doing some big things and you talk all the time and you recognize each other's schedules and you set something up and then a year goes by. Well, this is me and my very close friend today who's doing some great things. He is the CEO of Team Money Cycles. We're going to talk about that. He's still currently on the Philadelphia Police Department. Can I say that? Well, I already said it. There he is. Still currently on the Philadelphia Police Department. He is, well, his wife's the CEO, but he's partnered with his wife in Allure Body Wellness. This guy does it all. My friend, Rick Williams. Man, what is going on, brother?
Hey, good. What is it? Good morning. So we still good morning. Good morning. How are you?
And I happen to be his pastor too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like how you nicely fit. We've been pitting this off for a year.
Yeah,
I think we had two. Yes. We had two dates that kind of, passed by.
Yeah, a couple of days passed by, and then with everything going on in the world, like I see, you're a very active husband and father, but nonetheless, we're here now, and
yes.
And because we're here now, that means this is the time we were supposed to be here. So welcome,
Absolutely.
man. Welcome.
Thank
First
you.
thing I want to talk about, Rick, is Team Money Cycles. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Because before we get there, let's talk about your background. Introduce yourself to my audience. Who's Rick Williams?
Rick Williams, like you stated, I have a 22 plus year law enforcement background, Philadelphia native, born and raised. I started a brand back in 2015 called Team Money Cycles, and my wife just currently launched a brand that I help her with behind the scenes called Allure Body and Wellness. Father of two beautiful daughters, Ricky and Taylor, 21 and 14. And that's pretty much it.
How long you been married, man? You've been married a little while now to the wonderful, lovely Louisa.
We have been married 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And I always say that because marriage does work. I don't care what anybody says. Marriage does work. So
marriage definitely works.
Man,
it is work.
It is work and it does work. You got that right. We initially met through a mutual friend and you and I became very close, but we met along the lines of, and this is why I want to talk about Team Money Cycles. It's not just something you started, but you guys have been doing wonderful charitable things throughout the country.
Yes.
You're a motorcycle. You're a motorcycle head like myself. You took it to another level with baggers. If you guys don't know what baggers are, look them up.
Absolutely,
yeah. And Team Money Cycles. Talk to me about Team Money Cycles, man, and your thought behind it. Where did it come from? And let's talk about some of the work that you do with that.
So basically, in a short, long story, it was an idea that came up back around 2014, 2015. And the term money cycle, actually, I was getting a bike built and I was trying to figure out what when you get the name logoed on a gas tank, it says Harley Davidson motorcycles.
Yeah.
Well, jokingly, I said, well, it seemed like every time I turn around, I'm spending money in my motorcycle. So I don't have a motorcycle, I have a money cycle. And then the word team was me and some other guys who were all doing the same thing, like kind of shared the same love. So just a phone conversation, it just was like Team Money Cycles, just playing around. Little did I know that conversation and that thought process would turn into a brand that's recognized now globally. With it was like, what do I do to get this out here? Yeah. I was watching online and people had the TV shows and reality shows, and I'm like, the whole biker thing, like that's not my thing. So what how do I put my swag onto this? So we were building the bikes, different crazy colors, the big wheels, the loud sound systems. But I wanted whatever I did to have a purpose behind it. You know what I mean? Pastor. So a friend of the family was going through cancer treatments at the time, and thanks to God, actually beat it. So I'm like, man, it would be cool to do. Only thing I know is bikes and cars and stuff. Let's do like a bike show, sound show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe we can honor, the young lady who beat cancer, and then at the same time, honor somebody else who was going through.
Yeah.
And bring some awareness. So we did the first inaugural Team Money Cycles cancer awareness show up in Northeast. A buddy of mine let me use the back of his barbershop. It was a disaster. Listen, I look back at the pictures, and I did where we started and where we are. It was a disaster in terms of it rained, it was windy. We went to the dollar store and got magic markers. We made these signs trying to tell people where the show was, because we were behind a bar and a barbershop right next to it, about 15 feet away from the dumpster.
Wow.
The tents blew down. The DJ who I had, shout out to my man DJ Major, I didn't really know him at the moment. He came and did a favor for one of my cousins, and he had a wedding to go to, I believe, or a club, another gig, and like 5. He came and took the microphone out of my hand, like while I was still hosting the show. Like, I gotta go, buddy. Click. But we ended up raising just shy of $1,000 for a young lady who lived in West Philly, who was battling cancer for the second time, was on some financial hardships, and that $800+ were able to be a blessing to her.
Wow.
And from that point, I went back to the drawing board, and I'm like, how do I take this to the next level and bring awareness to causes? It started a cancer awareness, but we've helped flood victims. We were able to partner with different organizations to just do some great things in the community through what I love, my passion, motorcycles.
Yeah. You truly have a servant's heart. And one of the things I kind of want to focus on to kind of help my listeners understand is that when you first start a thing, it's not going to be perfect, man. You said it was a disaster. No. And, sometimes when we first start out, I know what we want, the dream, we want it to look like, but on the onset, when we first start out, it may not look like that. It might be, in Rick's terms, it might look like a disaster, but the key is you keep going, because you've been doing this how many years now?
We started this in 15. Wow. What was it, about 6 years now? 7 years, coming up for 7 years?
Yeah, close to 7 years. And like you said, you guys are global now, but it was a consistency. It was a commitment. That's one thing that we constantly talk about here and on the Unstoppable podcast, is that you must persevere. You must persevere. And so, you truly have a servant's heart. You truly are a man who will look to help any way he can, to help what we like to say sometimes, the least, the last, the lost, some folks that other people have forgotten about. I know Team Money Cycles is going to be right there. Let me ask you this, man.
Yes.
Staying with the theme of failure, of how, and that wasn't a failure, that was just a disaster. But just overall, man, looking at your life, and we've all experienced failure, and somebody might be experiencing some failure right now listening. How has a failure or an apparent failure in your life, how has that set you up for success? And if you care sharing one of your favorite failures, come on and share. But how do you believe failure has set you up for success? You are very successful at what you do.
So what I'll say is I can attest that day, although overall it was a success because I was able to conquer the goal, which was raise funds to help that young lady.
Yeah.
What I imagined for a show or production and what I ended up with, what I thought in my head it would be, was not so.
Yeah.
So personally, it was a failure for me. But where the failure came in was a few things. It was my first time doing it, so lack of experience.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect with that day. So I'm going to call it now in hindsight poor planning. Because I didn't know. So when you don't know, I didn't have a roadmap. It's like, in life I always say we have these cars now that you put your destination in,
Yeah.
and the navigation. You can do 50 million things in the car as long as you're subconsciously listening to that navigation guide you. You end up going to your destination.
Yeah.
But in business, oftentimes, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have somebody that's already doing it, able to guide you and set you on your path, you will take those roadblocks or those disasters, as I call it, as failures. So that was probably one of the biggest failures starting out, is not knowing where to go.
Yeah.
And trying to convince these 200 people that were showing up that believed in what you were doing that day, that you had it all figured out. And I think once, because that's what we all do. Like, they say fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, I'm doing this big show. I'm doing a promo. Like, I know how to talk, but I'm like, when I got there, I'm like, man, my tent flew around. Oh, what about the signs to show people how to get here? What about this? What about more vendors?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, wow.
Well, let me ask you this, Rick. You mentioned having it all figured out. Do you? I've been doing what I do, man, for been pastoring 16 years. I've leading this congregation, this company. Retired. I've been married 30 years, and I still don't feel like I got it all figured out. Do you feel like you have it all figured out?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Rick.
And it is foolish for anyone, whether you're in a business, whether you're a brand ambassador, whether you're just working a regular, I don't want to say your regular 9 to 5, but working in your career.
Yeah.
You should never have it all figured out.
Yeah.
If you have it all figured out, then you should try to do something else.
Yeah. And it's okay. And I want the listeners or viewers to understand it's okay. Here's the bottom line. You just have to accept that you need to just continue to learn each and every day.
Yes.
Each and every day.
You have to.
And I don't care how long you've been doing stuff. And like Rick said, if you got it all figured out, say you've been doing something a long time, it means no one can offer you a better way of doing it. And people are going to, and that means that, then just stay right there. Sooner or later, you'll be a dinosaur. So no matter how long you've been in it, you don't have it figured out. Don't have it all figured out.
No.
Don't be afraid to accept some input from some people who might know something. Somebody just might know something.
you have to get, when you think you have it all figured out, you have to walk to the door, open it up, and leave that room and enter another room.
Yeah.
You have to enter another room where you don't have it all figured out. And like you said, you have some other people who can impart some things and pour into you to allow you to get to that next level.
Yeah. Man, we talked about, your scheduling, force, a father, a husband, 2 businesses, Team Money Cycle and Allure Body Wellness. Along the way, you've had to say no to some things to get where you are. And I need some folks to understand that. There are going to be moments and times that you're going to have to say no. Remember, people are going to want your attention to kind of draw you away from where you're going. I want you to think back, man, just over the last 5 years, Rick, what have you become better at saying no to?
Oh man, pick one. Because you want to help everyone.
Yeah.
You'll get sidetracked and not realize it until you're tired and you don't have enough mental battery life to focus on accomplishing your goals.
Yeah.
So the key word I'll tell anybody is find balance. And you can say no in love.
Yes.
It just doesn't have to say no. It's like, listen, I would really like to. However, right now, I have so many other things going on. Or what I'll do is, I'll try to give some. because I'm a giver, I want to give you something like, hey, this is where you want to start. You know, I can't hold your hand and walk you from, point A to Z, but here's the start. And people have to really accept that and understand where you're coming from, because for one, the person that's receiving, you won't respect it if somebody gives you everything.
Right.
You need to get a couple bumps and bruises. You need to fall off the bike a couple of times too, so you can really appreciate where you are and where you're going. If not, a lot of folks, you won't appreciate it. So you got to learn how to say no.
Yeah. You have to learn how to say no. In love. There's another thing too that I talked about on one of my platforms.
Okay.
On Fireside. I don't know if you guys listen to Fireside, but I'm also on Fireside too. If you have an iPhone, download Fireside. Mark Cuban started a platform, and it's a live interactive thing. And I was on Fireside yesterday. I'm there every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. But I talked about you have to know when to fold them. Remember that Kenny Rogers song?
Yes.
Know when to fold them, know when to fold them. And we always hear about winners never quit. But I beg to differ. Winners do quit. They know what to quit. They know that this no longer serves me or serves where I'm trying to go. We don't quit the goal, but we might quit that particular plan, that particular way of getting there. Have you had to do that? Have you had to say, you know what? No, this is the goal. We've been doing this for 4 years. This is not working. Talk about that. Have you had to do that? Has it been hard to explain that to your team? Because people get comfortable in the way doing things, the one way,
Well, yeah, and I'm in I'm in an industry where you'll have one trendsetter, and then you'll have multiple people that will follow the trend.
Yeah.
And, a trendsetter can be the type that, you see people, they copied off of me, or they're doing what I do. That comes with the territory of being a trendsetter. Yeah. So you have to, you got to call audibles. It's like football. You got to tell your team when I go out and I look at and see what others are doing, I'm like, hey, huddle up.
Yeah.
We're going to call an audible on this one. It's time for us to pivot.
Yeah.
We have to, that wave, we created that wave and people are riding it. Cool. We're going to pivot and we're going to do this. And it's about constantly being innovative and just, trying to stay ahead of what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
That's just a personal passion. You know how it is. It's like, it's like dressing. Like if you're a sharp guy, you don't want to walk into a place and everybody has on the same outfit as you.
Right.
You want to bust in there and it's like, oh man, check out Ralph, check out those shoes. Yeah. So that's you trying to pivot. You ain't going to do what you did last week. You want to do something different, and it's like that in business.
Yeah, and you
don't have time to sit.
Go.
I'm sorry, say that. I was just saying people make a mistake. They want to sit and have pity parties and oh man, don't have time for that. It's time to move on. Quit that and let's move to something different. And you're not quitting because it's something negative. You're quitting because that worked for me, but what's the next level? What are we doing next?
And I've watched you do it amazingly. And this is why I had to have you on the program and specifically now. Team Money Cycles is a phenomenal thing. It's growing, it's making impact, it's global. We're going to talk about, teach people how to get in contact with them if you want Team Money Cycles to come to your town. You've been all over the country. But then all of a sudden, you pivot, and out of nowhere, Allure Body Wellness shows up. I loved it. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. How you and your wife, this is the brainchild of a true power couple that you two are. And I watched you shift. I've watched you put your blood, sweat, and tears to make this thing come alive, this part of your family, this part come alive, and your wife is running. She's doing a great job. Talk about that shift. Talk about that pivot. Talk about that pivot to Allure. How did that come about? Allure Body Wellness, and I think it's primary for the ladies, correct?
Yeah, it's It's primarily most of the services here are catered to the ladies.
Okay.
How did it come? How did Allure come about? If I told you Allure came about, we are a spontaneous couple, so it wasn't like something that she was planning to do for years. It really was like a weekend conversation of, hey, you know, I've been looking at this and looking at this industry and whatnot. So I'm like a numbers guy. I got to go online, you know, what is this industry projected to do the next 10 years? On which marketing? What do you have to put into it? And my wife is, I'm going to find a space. I need a building. I need to buy this. I need to order these machines and all.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just, you know how they say, I was reading Proverbs the other day in terms of wife and all. So I didn't want to be up on the roof in that corner.
Right.
The roof because I'll forget exactly how I went. So I wanted to just be supportive of her. And, you know, my wife had a stroke in 2017.
Yeah.
She's a registered nurse, worked in the OR, 20 years in the medical field. And when she had a stroke, God forbid, that didn't like totally take her out of here, but it presented some challenges. Yeah. When she felt as though she was ready to get back in the workforce and work for herself, I wanted to make sure I was 1,000,000% supportive of her endeavor.
Yeah.
And, you know, although failure is not an option, I told her at any point, if it seemed as if this was going to be too much for you, then you resort back to, you know, going back home and just, you know, assisting with Team Money. Believe it or not, she runs Team Money Cycles. That's her. Team Money Cycles is her baby. I'm just a volunteer.
I didn't want to tell everybody. I know that.
Yeah. Listen, she runs. Listen, down to the finances. Like I volunteer my services as when I'm emceeing and all. TMC became her keeping it real, her source of income.
Yeah.
When she left the hospital. And it's funny, God gave us that when the stroke happened. No lie. That's when TMC really flourished. But moving into Allure, so I just was tasked with, you know, hiring a work crews to come in and make this place as beautiful and inviting for women as possible. And she was home doing the behind the scenes paperwork aspect of it. My job was to hire the people to come in to actually do the work and get it done. And it is beautiful. It's doing well. I'm so proud of her. She allows me to come in for a little while during the day and say hello and bring her breakfast and lunch, and then I got to get out.
Yeah.
But it's just a beautiful thing. But
what's the website in case someone in the Northeast area, our tri-state area, and I know this show was global.
It's on www.allurebodywellness.com. I'll say it again, www.allurebodywellness.com. It's located in Philadelphia, PA. You can find her on Instagram as well as Facebook. And Pastor, when I tell you this woman constantly is diligently working on making this facility the best the best place possible for women and men to come get service. I mean, I'm just proud of her.
Guys, if you're in the area or if you travel into Philadelphia, and guys, if you want to give your lady a treat, go ahead and set it up. Go ahead and pay for it, prepay. Get your lady in there. Give her a real treat, and you won't regret it. You won't regret it.
Absolutely. She the services offered is teeth whitening. They have for the ladies the Yanni vaginal steams. Mm-hmm. They have body contour, post-op care, non-invasive care for women who elect not to get the surgery but still want to get some body sculpting and whatnot going on, and also post-op care for women who did elect to go get surgery done on their bodies. And like I said, Louisa is a retired registered nurse who specializes working in the operating room. So just the level of care. And when I hear her explaining things to people, I'm like, man, I didn't know this lady was this smart. Yeah. The way she really goes in depth with it. So I'm just proud of her. Very
good. That's awesome, man. Let me ask you this, man, before I let you go. In the last 5 years, I want you to think, brother. I want you to think. In the last 5 years, and guys, listen, we're friends, but he didn't know I was going to ask him these questions. We talk about a bunch of other stuff. But in the last 5 years, what new belief, what new behavior, what new habit has most improved your life? I want you to share that with us. Last 5 years, what new belief, what new behavior, what new habit has most improved your life?
From a relationship standpoint,
from any standpoint, yeah.
So I'll give it to you marriage-wise, communication, actually sitting down and talking with my wife and realizing we aren't the same people who we were 10 years ago when we met, 15 years ago when we met.
Yeah.
So learning and listening and tapping into who we have evolved into in our 40s than our 20s. That actually helped a lot marital-wise. Business-wise,
that's good stuff too, man. That's good stuff right there. I hope you guys wrote that down. Study who you are now. Stop keeping score about who you used to be. Who are you now? But go ahead.
Yeah, and business-wise, I would just say humbleness. The internet and Instagram allows you to become whoever you want and not losing yourself in your social media, who your social media presence is, or who you think in your head everybody thinks you are.
Right.
That I would say that's the number. You could be confident, but don't lose yourself in this this digital world that we all live in, where you're looking for likes and you're looking for confirmation from others. Keep your head down and just do your thing, and everything else will fall in place.
Yeah. Hey man, how can they find Team Money Cycles, man? I want you to come to my city. I want you to come to my town. I'm in LA. I'm in Tennessee. I'm wherever. I want you guys to come. Because you guys have come a long way from raising $800 to $1,000. You guys raise thousands of dollars for great causes in this short period of time. How do they get in contact with you, man, to come to their city and set something up?
So what you can do is you can email us at www.teammoneycyclesinfo@gmail.com, and one of my staff will get back to you. When we come to towns, we like to partner with groups within that area. I always say it's fun to come to a town and do a bike show and have a good time, a sound show, but can we plant some seeds that'll grow when we leave? When we can, we'll partner with an organization for a cause and raise some funds, whether it's a person or the organization. We just about helping. So that's the main thing. If you want to hit us up on Instagram, it's team_money cycles. And Facebook, you could just type into, listen, I'm going to make it easy. This is what I always tell people, just Google us.
Yeah.
If you drop us in Google, everything you need to get us from YouTube to all the social media platforms will pop up.
And listen, if you're thinking about partnering with it, maybe you're an organization that's listening, maybe you're looking for somebody to partner with. Listen, these are some of the nicest motorcycles. This would be one of the best events you ever had. Family atmosphere, multicultural. All kinds of motorcycles, and you never know what you might stir up in a youngster. A love for something like this, and you will not regret it. Last question is this, my brother, and I ask everyone this. If you could have a billboard anywhere in the world, where would it be and what would it say?
If I could have a billboard anywhere in the world, where would it be and what would it say?
Yeah.
Man, that's one of those questions. I wish you would have texted that one to me. I need to
I wanted to catch you right here. I could have, but
it would probably say something on the lines of make every source a resource.
Wow.
And when I say that is, I watch a lot of entrepreneur things on social media, and they talk about you don't have to go to college You don't have to work a real job. You don't need a career. You could just work for yourself and be an entrepreneur. And I don't agree with that.
Right.
So every source is a resource. If you went to college, I had the opportunity to go back to college as an adult. That was resourceful. I had the opportunity to be in a career that taught me discipline and structure for 22 plus years. That source was a resource.
Yeah.
Even from the finances of being able to use your career to fund your business. Unless you go on to get a business loan or you got some credit or something. Oh no, that job is a source. It's a resource.
Yeah.
So that would be my that just would be my advice. And if I could have that billboard anywhere, golly, I'm gonna take it off a highway. I want it on the biggest social media platform possible where everybody can see it. I'm gonna go digital on that one.
Okay. All right. Very good. That's where everyone is, right? That's where everybody is.
Yeah. I want to be where everybody is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, Rick, man, thank you for being on the Unstoppable program. Thank you for being who you are. Please tell the family that Pastor said hello, but thank you for taking out this time, carving out this time of your morning, of your busy morning, and coming on and just sharing the story and sharing some advice to me and the listeners, man, and the listeners. Thank you for being on. Guys, you've been listening to the Unstoppable program. My name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'll see you again next week. And remember, let's be unstoppable together. See you.